This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2491, Silly and Misleading Retirement Calculators by Mr. Money Mustache of MrMoneyMustache.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Now let's get right to today's post and start optimizing your life. Silly and Misleading Retirement Calculators by Mr. Money Mustache of MrMoneyMustache.com. I think the main reason people seem amazed at the idea of retiring at age 30, 40, or even 50 is the lack of real information on early retirement in general. If you type retirement calculator into a search engine these days and enter some basic stats about yourself, you will find some very strange assumptions that are guiding you to think you need an absolute shitload of money to retire. For example, I was once working through such a guide in a magazine from Northern Trust, a bank that caters to the wealthy. It went something like this. Consider your goals for retirement. What life events do you need to be prepared for? The following table lists average costs. Children's and grandchildren's university education, $100,000 per child. Children's and grandchildren's weddings, $25,000. Assisted care facilities, $100,000 per year. Medical costs, funeral arrangements, $25,000. Trust funds for loved ones, estate and legacy planning, and charitable foundations. Wow, looks like you're well into the millions before you even get to buy yourself some groceries. Another retirement calculator on CNN.com has various parts to fill out in drop-down boxes pre-filled with handy values, like retiring at age 65 and needing 70% of your maximum pre-retirement income constantly for the rest of your life. The drop-down box with 70% in it did not even offer a value lower than 40%. This percentage of income concept is one of the most anti-Mustachian ones out there. If you make $200,000 per year just before retiring, does this experience corrupt you so much that you need $140,000 per year for the rest of your life? Or is it possible to maintain the same luxury standards of a person who has a merely comfortable income, like $40,000 per year? This goes back to the ideas of the Get What You Need posting I made recently. And that is, why not go for maximum happiness rather than maximum consumption? I propose that maximum happiness is achieved at a spending level where you live in a comfortable space, eat healthy foods, and get to do lots of active and stimulating things with friends. That doesn't have to cost $140,000 per year, or even $50,000 per year for most of us. The other assumption they push on people is a very low rate of savings. They assume you will put less than the annual limit on 401k contributions, and don't say much about what to do if you save more than that, which the high-income person mentioned a few paragraphs ago could certainly do. So these banks and mutual fund companies will continue to tell you that you need millions of dollars to retire because it benefits them for you to invest your money with them. Luckily, it's a harmless bit of tomfoolery since the saving benefits you as well. But the disservice they do is in scaring people out of dreaming to save faster or to think about much shorter time horizons like 10 years instead of just plain old age 65. So I'll give you a quick retirement calculator of my own. A typical adult couple with no kids or whose children are grown can live very comfortably on $40,000 per year in retirement. My own family lives very comfortably with one child on somewhere in the $27,000 range. You can shoot higher or lower depending on what level of luxury you want to pursue. $20,000 to $80,000 is a good absolute maximum sane range. But if you don't want to calculate everything out, just go for $40,000 and figure out how to make your savings produce that for you. For a single person, it might be difficult to slice it in half because you lose some benefits from sharing a house and car, but you can come close. 2 quick early retirement budgets. Number 1, an early retiree couple lives on $30,000 per year, earning $5,000 of that combined in part-time luxurious post-retirement careers. The remaining $25,000 per year is generated by their savings. $625,000 of total savings are required to generate this amount of passive income using the 4% rule. Number 2, an early retiree single person lives on $25,000, earning $10,000 on his or her mini career. $15,000 per year is required from savings, which calls for a nest egg of about $375,000. I'm working on some much more detailed and exciting sample budgets using real numbers from my own spending experiences before and after retirement. A recent reader posting suggested creating some square one plans that tell various hypothetical people in different walks of life exactly what to do to get a nice retirement party time in 10 years. Sounds good to me. But they're not done yet because the call of the canyons has sounded and the Mr. Money Mustache family is off for some desert adventures and camping for a few days. You wouldn't want a fake financial superhero who tells you how great it is to be free, but then sits at home all day as a slave to his blog, now would you? No. You just listened to the post titled Silly and Misleading Retirement Calculators by Mr. Money Mustache of MrMoneyMustache.com.
Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
Labor strikes, climate change, your beat-up office printer. What do they all have in common? Come on, it's all about the money. Economics is everywhere and everything fueling our lives, even where we least expect it. If you're a fan of Optimal Finance Daily and are curious to learn something new and exciting about economics every week, I recommend you listen to the Planet Money podcast from NPR. Planet Money is a different kind of world where the complex economy actually makes sense, where human stories supersede abstract theories. Listeners can learn, laugh, and be entertained. It's econ, down to earth, and Planet Money answers some of life's burning questions, like, will AI take over our jobs? Why are Christmas trees so darn expensive? The Planet Money team lives to tell a good story in around 30 minutes. It's econ for the rest of us. Tune into Planet Money every week for entertaining stories and insights about how money shapes our world. Stories that can't be found anywhere else. Listen now to Planet Money from NPR, wherever you get your podcasts. What I found interesting about this article is that it highlights one of the key differences of the FIRE way of looking at retirement versus the traditional way of looking at retirement. And I want to point out here that those pursuing early retirement are mostly doing the same thing you need to do if you ever want to retire. You need to save and invest your money, mostly in tax-advantaged retirement vehicles. Many financial planners will tell you to invest 10 to 20% for retirement. However, for early retirement, or if you're getting a late start, you usually need to save a much higher percentage. But another key difference highlighted here is figuring out how much is enough for retirement. Proponents of FIRE talk about 25 times your yearly expenses with no consideration for your income. There are pros and cons to this. On the bright side, it gives you a more achievable number to shoot for and makes saving for retirement less of a burden and more within reach. However, if you retire at 30 based on your current expenses, there is some risk here that your assumptions about your expenses won't be true in 30 years. This is why it's good to have some flexibility in the plan. Maintain that emergency fund, build in some buffers, maintain options for incremental income. It seems that a lot of non-FIRE retirement advice out there focuses on income because there's an assumption that many people have not or will not get accustomed to living below their means. I find this key difference to be a strength of the FIRE mentality, which involves questioning our consumption and making sure it aligns with what we value. Luckily, if we value time autonomy, creation, and relationships, oftentimes these things don't require much in terms of money. That should do it for another edition of Optimal Finance Daily. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.